Committee meeting for February 24th, 2021 session. Let it be noted that all the committee alders, Alder Gerlach, Alder Brunette, Alder Weary, and myself, Alder Scannell, are present. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Alder Brunette, seconded by Alder Gerlach. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. We have been agendized. Okay, I'll take a motion for to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Alder Weary, second by Alder Gerlach. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Our minutes have been seconded. You think they'd be minuted, but no, they're seconded. I worry about that hourly. Shoot. Okay, we're on to regular business. Consideration with possible action on purchasing 21 Expos point of sale computers for a total cost of $30,640 from CWG for Bay Beach Amusement Park and the 3 public pools. Staff?
Yeah, so we need to upgrade our point of sale computers at Bay Beach Amusement Park and at all 3 pools. So the system we currently have is outdated and requires Windows 10 to be compatible with our updated software systems. So we also recently purchased new credit card readers to become credit card PCI compliant. And unfortunately, the old POS systems are not compatible with the new credit card readers. So we feel this upgrade will also enhance customer experience throughout all of these facilities. So our staff went out and researched various options, and we are recommending to purchase the ELO POS system i3 all-in-one computer. So this system will be compatible with the new credit card readers that we already purchased, and it will also be compatible with RecTrack. And RecTrack is the software program that we use to do all of our scheduling and payments for all of our events and activities. So the biggest concern whenever you select a POS system is to make sure that you find a system that works well with the software and hardware systems that you currently are using. So we reached out to a couple other communities. We reached out to Ashwaubenon and Brown County Parks. They also use RecTrack, and they have these exact same POS systems that they've purchased and they're using. So they're happy with this system and this computer system, and they've indicated that all of the software that they use, which is similar to the software we use, they all work well together. So this is a good fit for our needs. So then we did reach out to purchasing in the IT department, and both agreed that this is the appropriate system to purchase and that it's a good idea to sole source this purchase through our government supply source. So CDWG, they are our governmental IT supply source used by the city. And if you look at the agenda packet, so I included a quote which stated the purchase price for each unit was $1,456 per unit. That's their standard rate. We're actually able to lock into a government rate, which is slightly cheaper at $1,391.58 per unit. So in the agenda, I mistakenly stated we need 21 units. We actually need 22 units. So we would need 12 at Bay Beach and 10 at the pools. So 22 units at $1,391.58 comes out to $30,615. So the dollar amount was accurate. I just needed to add 1 unit to the agenda item. So we're proposing to fund the purchase out of our existing equipment replacement funding. So we currently have enough money in that account to fund the purchase. So we wouldn't have to bond for anything. The money is all currently available. So I would recommend at this point that we approve the purchase. We do have Mike Ronick here, our IT director, And we have Calvin Winters here, our purchasing agent, if you have specific questions in regards to this purchase.
Anybody got questions? Alder Gerlach?
I was just going to say, I move to approve the purchase.
Move to approve by Alder Gerlach.
Second.
Second by Alder Brunette. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to clarify, the old POS is now POS, so we need a new POS.
I get it.
Okay.
I tell you what, I'll create a disturbance. Someone go over to Schwabenon. They'll never miss them.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we've got ourselves some new computers.
Thank you.
Okay, item 2, consideration with possible action on the request by Wisconsin Public Service to approve a utility easement for a gas vault in Seymour Park. Staff?
So Wisconsin Public Service recently contacted us and requested to do some upgrade work to an existing gas vault located in Seymour Park. And this is the area of Seymour Park just east of Ashland Avenue. The gas vault was installed approximately 10 years ago, and it's very similar to other gas vaults that have been approved in the parks. So we do have similar gas vaults at Jackson Square and also at Baird Place. So after we began researching their request, we determined that for whatever reason, the vault was approved by staff, but a formal easement was never finalized, authorizing them to put that in the park. So what we think happened at the time was, because the vault was placed adjacent to an existing utility easement, therefore there was some question as to whether or not the original easement needed to be amended to include the gas vault. So we think that they just, it was approved with the assumption that the existing easement would cover the new gas vault. So that being said, after we reviewed this with our law department, we decided that we'd like to formalize the easement to accommodate this existing vault so that there's no confusion in the future. And so if you take a look at the agenda packet, I did include the formal easement, the final easement that was reviewed and approved by the law department and the Public Works right-of-way specialist. And if you open to page 4, you'll see the graphic. Page 4 of that easement, you'll see the graphic that shows clearly the area that we're talking about. So in that graphic, you'll see an easement running north and south titled Gas Pipeline Easement. This easement then turns 90 degrees and runs east and west following the alley to the south side of the property. That easement was existing and has been in place since 2001. And then you'll also see a smaller hatched rectangle titled Gas Facility Easement. That's the location of the gas vault that was installed a few years ago. And that's the area that we would like to include in this easement. So in this write-up, the proposed easement would take the place of the original easement. And both locations, both the gas vault and the existing easement that was in place, is included in this amendment. So I would recommend approval of the easement, and I have no concerns whatsoever with this request.
Anyone?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Alder Gerlach.
Again.
Seconded by Alder Weary. I just say that I believe that we didn't have an easement in the past, and that's nobody's fault.
You are in fine form tonight.
I'll approve. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, they have an easement. Oh, shoot. Okay, we're set, James? Yep, all right. Then informational. Request by Alder Steuer for staff to provide a timeline for public input for the replanting of the Perkins Park wooded area. Staff? Or do we want to go to Alder Steuer first?
Well, why don't I give a brief summary, and then
Okay.
if Alder Steuer wants to add to it, he's more than welcome to. Is that okay with you, Alderman Steuer?
It's fine.
Great, thank you. So there's currently a wooded area located on the northeast corner of Perkins Park. This area consists of many trees, turf, wood chip areas, and a disc golf course. So unfortunately, this area was heavily hit by emerald ash borer, and a large number of trees had to be removed over the last few years. So starting in 2012, we started to proactively remove the ash trees on site because we knew emerald ash borer was on the way. And so at the time, we were removing about 25 trees annually. And then over the last few years, this number increased to 50 to 75 trees as the trees started dying out. Recently, we hired a logging company to remove the rest of the ash trees, which were all infested with emerald ash borer. And that came out to approximately 280 trees we removed over the winter months. So all of the ash trees are now gone. They've all been removed from that area of the park. I don't have an exact count for you on the number of trees that were removed, but I gave you a timeline of approximately how many we removed per year. Now, within the last 5 years, we did replace approximately 75 to 100 trees. 2 years ago, we decided to hold on replanting any more trees until we completed the large-scale tree removal project. So we did this for 2 reasons. One, we didn't want the new trees to be in the way of the logging equipment when they took down the 280 trees. Secondly, we decided to take advantage of this opportunity to do a comprehensive planting plan of the entire site instead of just placing the trees in the same general location as the trees that were removed. So typically when we remove a tree and we replace it, we plant a tree in generally the same location. Our foresters estimate that about 75% of the wooded area was made up of ash trees. So you can tell right now how different this site looks from what it did just a few short years ago. So the ballpark approximation is that there's 300 to 400 trees that still remain in the park, but it does look completely different. So this summer, what we intend on doing is using summer staff to inventory the remaining trees that exist. So we'll get some GIS equipment and we'll accurately document the location, size, and species of the remaining trees. We'll do that over the summer months, like I said, with seasonal help. Once the inventory is done, our park planner will work with the forestry department to develop several conceptual planting plans. We'll be looking at issues such as drainage. We know that there's a big drainage problem in that area. Every spring there's standing water throughout that entire site. So we'll be looking at drainage. We'll be looking at new tree planting locations or tree massings. We'll look at possibly incorporating native prairie plants into the planting design. And then we'll also look at potential trail locations and the disc golf course that's there and how that all plays into all of this. So we anticipate that the conceptual design process would take about 2 months. After that, what we would propose is that we would have a public input meeting to present 2 or 3 conceptual planting plans to the neighborhood. And this meeting would be scheduled sometime later this fall. I don't have an exact date for you. It depends on how long it takes us to do the tree inventory and how long it takes us to pull together 2 or 3 concepts. So I had a discussion with Alder Stoyer recently. This area is really important to the neighborhood. They love this natural area. We've received a lot of calls. I know I have, along with Alder Stoyer, about replanting that area and making sure it remains a natural area, and that's what we intend to do. It's just now's a good time to take a strategic replanting plan and really strategize where we're going to replant the trees instead of just replacing them. So I guess that's where we sit with the timeline and the process. I don't know if Alder Stoyer has anything to add to that.
Well, thank you, Dan, for that. For the committee, I'd like to say that Dan's been very helpful, as well as Assistant Director Anderson, talking about this. They met with me last week, and I guess one of my concerns, like anything else, as alders, we all have concerns with our neighbors. Some of the neighbors are very upset that so many trees were taken down, and even if you tell them that it had emerald ash borer, they still don't quite see the whole picture. They just look at the end result and they don't realize what happened to bring it to that point. So I'm trying to assure the neighbors that, we're not going to go in and just do some crazy wild plan to change everything. I think, Director Ditchite was talking about keeping the area as natural as possible. It's a big area. They used to call it Dietrich Woods. It was, the locals call it that because these trees have been there many, many decades. And it's sad that, 75% of those trees were ash trees. So with that being said, I agree with the fact that, Dan's looking to have someone do inventory, a GIS inventory, make a database of that. And I'm all about research and data. I think it's very important. It's very difficult to take aerial photos of that or have aerial photos. You can't really tell where the trees are located on the ground. So I agree with Dan on that. So I'm going to move forward. I'll try to keep the neighbors in tune. We don't really have a neighborhood association specifically in that area, so it makes it difficult to get the word out to everybody. So I will be leaning on the park department a little bit to help with notification to the neighbors. But other than that, I appreciate the efforts, them listening, and just so I have something to tell to the neighbors. So it is a beautiful area. So, but it's different now, but it is what it is. So thanks again.
And I guess just one other thing I'd like to add to that is that we are going to have to probably look at funding to do some of this replanting also, depending on what the master plan planting concepts look like. So currently, the only funding that we have in place is the sale, the money we've recovered from the logging. So I believe, I don't have an exact dollar amount, but it's approximately $10,000 is what we were able to generate in revenue from the sale of that lumber. So all of that money would go back towards purchasing trees to replant next year. But anything above and beyond that, we would have to secure additional funding for.
Oh, Dan, real quickly. I'm sorry. One more quick question. So out of that 10,000, how many trees could you get from $10,000 roughly?
I haven't done the math on that. I know I talked to forestry about it. I believe they told me that they could buy smaller trees this year, and those would cost about $30 to $50 roughly, and then just let them grow in the tree nursery for a year and then plant them tomorrow with a year's worth of growth on them. So I don't know the exact number of trees, but the range would be about $30 to $50 per tree.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Alder Gerlach?
I just wanted to ask Alder Sawyer a question. You mentioned the neighbors. Is there a neighborhood association there? No?
Well, there used to be one, but sadly it kind of blew up over some issues that we had years ago. We're hoping to reprise it again, but it is a big area. There's over almost 1,000 homes, maybe more. So you would look at the whole area up and down Locust Street and Platten, North Platten, and then some areas a little bit to the east of that. So there are quite a few homes in that area. And, the folks that live on Locust Street on the west side of the street, their backyard is Perkins Park. So they take it very seriously. And we had a number of issues when we were trying to get a disc golf course in there, and they're very protective, but we have to remind each other that it's all of our park. It's for all of us. So
I was just going to suggest that if there was a neighborhood association, the neighborhood
Right.
newsletter would have been a good way to get this information out. But
right, we don't have one. So hopefully maybe this year we'll get something going, and hopefully before that meeting we'll have something in place. Thank you.
Do we need to receive and place on file, or should we do that with all of them at the end, or can we just move on?
I think that you do need to put a motion, receive and place on file would be appropriate. Because
Okay, I'll
it's
take a motion.
informational.
Receive and place on file?
second,
Motion by Alder Weary, seconded by Alder Gerlach. I'll just say that my first memory ever is of walking to and around Perkins Park. So, pretty cool place. And I know our forestry guys, they're cut above the rest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Aye.
That passes unanimously.
We're all speechless.
Yeah. On to informational number 2. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Excellent.
Staff update on fat tire biking at Henisra Park. Staff?
All right. Well, as you probably could tell from the weather the last couple days, currently our trails are actually closed until further notice. We're actually trying to keep people off the trails right now when the weather's like this, so they don't do any other damage beyond what with the different trails. So we're trying to keep people off the trails that aren't able to be walked on right now. So there's certain areas of Henistra in the wetlands and other areas where we're actually trying to keep people off them if possible until we either find out it gets dry or we get some more freezing temperatures. So that's the first thing. As we continue to monitor trail conditions, though, we are continuing to discuss future signage modifications and different needs. We are noticing that not just on the Henistra trails, but overall we did a tour of some of our other trails as well, and there is a certain amount of foot and dog traffic that are on the trails and on cross-country ski trails that we notice. So we're continuing trying to reevaluate what would be the best way moving forward to hopefully make people aware that to designate the trails accordingly. The level of fat tire biking, in particular at Henistra, though, has gone down considerably. Previous to the last couple of days, of course, here with the trails being closed, and in particular, group rides have gone down. So that's something we've definitely noticed over the last month. The snow events initially, of course, helped our trails get in better shape, but like I said, due to the rising temperatures, the trails have become soft and not easily skied, and we're actually encouraging people to stay off them in the time being right now. We've noticed that more signage is needed probably around the parking lot and entry points of the park. So the park staff was addressing this last week, and we are currently strategizing on different ways moving forward in the long term about how to groom, when to groom. We're researching and working with other organizations that do trail grooming on what the ideal temperatures are to groom, as well as looking at a plan for over the weekends. When we get snow over the weekends, it can be challenging because we don't have staff available unless we pay overtime right now, which is currently not budgeted, to actually groom on the weekends. So for example, if we sometimes people get out to the trails and they maybe walk on them, and then we try to go in on Monday and start grooming them. It does make it a little challenging at times. Our park staff is meeting again on March 4th to start to review a more comprehensive plan with park maps and potential location and areas on the west side for fat tire biking to be considered. And then we actually do have our focus group meetings set up in March. So March 15th and March 29th. We're hosting a focus group consisting of representatives from each of the park user groups, as well as from the neighborhood associations in the area, community, and an at-large representative to gain insight and input for continued development of the long-term use of Henistra, as well as development of potential comprehensive plans for West Side Trail development and recommendations going forward. And there also will be a public input meeting where everyone interested in this will be invited in April, and that more than likely will be on site in the parking lot, similar to how we ran the meeting back in December. That date is yet to be determined. So that's the update.
Any questions, comments from anyone? Alder Brunette.
Yeah, thank you, James. You've done a really good job kind of following the direction of the council, what we voted on a month ago. I did receive, for the sake of the committee and a few constituents who I see maybe on the line here, James did send James or Dan, I forget whom, but sent the invitation out regarding the neighborhood meeting, the focus group rather. And so there will be some invitations that go out to 2 to possibly 3 neighborhood associations adjacent to the park. and they asked for invitation or email links to the Hino Straw group. So we'll be making contacts with that group to make sure that they're well represented at the meeting. So I'm happy with that. As we all know, the gripe in the very beginning was that a lot of neighbors felt like this was going on without their knowledge, or especially their consent. And I think the Parks Department has done very well in the community outreach. And that's not to criticize anything that was done up until the meeting a month ago, but I do see a tremendous amount of outreach from a parks perspective. And so I look forward to that. I look forward to being involved in those conversations. But again, I just want to reiterate that this is still a trial basis. I mean, we extended the trial to May 15th, so we really don't know what the council will decide around that time. But the community information sessions are very critical, and I thank James for that leadership in this area.
Anyone else?
Move to receive and place on file. Would that be right?
Yes, it would.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion by Alder Gerlach, seconded by Alder Brunette, thirded by Alder Weary. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, it's been received and placed on file. Our wonderful and comprehensive director's report. Anything you care to comment on, Director?
Yeah, there's just a couple of things I wanted to point out and updates for you. So the ice rinks in Triangle Hill, unfortunately, are closed again due to the warm weather and snow melt. So we'll see what happens with the weather. If at all possible, we'll open again, but it's every day that passes, it's more and more unlikely we'll be able to open those again. So the weather would have to cooperate for us to open. So typically, Mother Nature doesn't allow us to go much past the end of February with our ice rinks or Triangle Hill before we have to shut down for the season, but you never know what'll happen. Students will begin in-person learning at the Nature-Based 4K program at the sanctuary on March 1st. So safe protocols have been developed to protect the staff and the students in order to bring people back. So this is a nature-based program, so it is nice to get the students back on site and instead of doing it virtually. So also, all of our staff are busy with hiring summer staff to maintain and run Bay Beach, all of our summer programming, and the 3 pools, and also for our maintenance staff. So we're kind of starting to recruit for summer staff. So, and then the final update I have for you is that the Wildlife Sanctuary received nearly $20,000 in donations through the Give Big Green Bay fundraising campaign. So I just wanted to personally thank everyone that donated, along with the Green Bay Packers and the Greater Green Bay Community Foundation for allowing us to participate. And also they're going to match a portion of those donations. So thank you very much. So that concludes my report.
Very good. Any questions or comments from anyone? Alder Gerlach?
I would just like to make a comment. I don't know if you folks all saw the news today from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation that Green Bay, Wisconsin is one of 9 cities in the entire United States that has been named a semifinalist for Culture of Health community. And I knew it in advance because I'm on the committee.
Oh.
And the day that I found out we were a semifinalist is the day I read this report. And I couldn't help but comment to myself, because there's nobody else around, that our Parks and Recreation program is a huge, huge part of a community of culture, or of a culture of health in Green Bay. There's just, I mean, when you look at this, we are attempting to provide good outdoor recreation for every single age, every season of the year. I think if I get a chance to talk about Parks and Recreation when they come and talk to us, we're going to win it. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
We'll receive and place on file.
Motion to receive and place on file by Alder Brunette. Seconded by Alder Weary. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? is received and placed it on file. Our next meeting is March 10th, same bat time, same bat channel. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Gallagher, seconded by Alder Weary. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Great job, staff. Thank you. When are we going to get together for INS?
Well, it's scheduled for 6. Can we start early? I don't know if it's,
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it says following. It says 6. So I'd hate to start early and have people miss it. So
Yeah.
Might be something we should think about changing for the future.
Yeah. Have it following.
yeah, it used to be that way. So for today, we'll meet at 6.
Okay.
Go have supper. All right.
Will do.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
just one thing. So Director Grenier is here. It does say on the agenda for INS that it is following Parks Committee. So if you'd like, you could reconvene at 5:40. That would be fine with Director Grenier.
Is that all right with everybody? All right.
Yeah, good.
5:40. Make
You
it a
said I
quick
could have
snack.
dinner. You said I could have dinner.
You can have a snack.
Oh, okay. I'll see you at 5:40.
All right, thank you.